Before he could see clearly, the woman leapt at him happily, screaming happily, "Charlie!" He heard the woman's voice. It was Sarah, so he put down his guard and let her plunge into his arms. Holding Sarah lightly, Charlie couldn't help but ask her, "Didn't I tell you? I said don't pick me up. Why did you come here?" Sarah said diligently, "I wanted to see you soon. I'm afraid I stay at home, and I can't help telling my parents the news of your coming in advance, so I just ran out." Charlie asked again, "You won't be spotted by the paparazzi when you come out? If you are secretly procured by the paparazzi and you are a big star hugging a man at the gate of the airport, then your popularity will probably be greatly affected. What are you afraid of?" Sarah said in a very indifferent tone, "If it is really procured and exposed, then I will say that I am holding my fiancé. If the popularity will decline because of this, then let it. I don't rely on the entertainment industry to eat, so it's easy to find you when I come in and play. Now that I find you, I can leave the circle at any time." "Okay." Charlie helplessly asked her, "Let's go to see the uncle and aunt quickly. Did you drive here?" Sarah nodded and said, "I just parked the car in the parking lot. Let's go and pick up the car together." With that said, Sarah hugged Charlie's arm and took him to the parking lot. Sarah drove a very humble old Volvo car today. After getting in the car, she took off her hat and said embarrassingly, "Charlie, I'm sorry, the car I drove today is a bit shabby. The main reason is that most of the car paparazzi in our family know, so I just drove this old car out. Don't dislike it." Charlie smiled and nodded, and said, "You don't know what days I have been living these years. I told you last time that I used to live in an orphanage. After I came out, my wife's grandfather arranged for me to go to the construction site. After a year of college, I have gone through all the hardships. Even if you tell me that you need me to walk to your house, I don't mind." Sarah looked at Charlie and sighed softly, "Charlie, you have suffered for so many years." Charlie shook his head, "It doesn't matter if you endure hardship. In my opinion, all the hardship I faced is a kind of training for me." Sarah nodded earnestly, and while driving out of the parking lot, she said, "My dad was still talking about you yesterday. Didn't the doctor ask him to go back to the hospital for treatment? He knows that his physical condition may be very unoptimistic. So he sighed, the biggest regret is that he couldn't find you." Charlie was moved and smiled slightly. "Sarah, don't worry, with me, Uncle will definitely recover his health." Sarah didn't know Charlie's abilities, let alone that Charlie had the title of true Dragon Master in the upper class of Orus Hill, so she never believed that he could cure her father's terminal illness. At this time, she just felt that Dad would be very pleased when he saw Charlie. If the mood improves, I believe his body will also change to a certain extent. Sarah's home is not far from East Cliff International Airport. East Cliff's airport is in the northeast of the city, and several top super villa districts of East Cliff are also in the central villa district not far away. 20 minutes later, Sarah drove the car to East Cliff's Ocean Mansion. Although there are many East Cliff villas, most of them are townhouses of tens of millions. There are very few large and luxurious single-family villas in the urban area. Most single-family villas are located in very remote areas in the north, near Shaotong Mountain. Among the limited single-family villas in the urban area, Ocean Mansion can be said to be one of the top villa areas. Every villa here has a price of at least $1 billion and is luxurious. However, this place still cannot be compared with the Wade family's mansion. In Charlie's memory, the Wade family's mansion was not a luxury villa built by this kind of developer, but the palace of a prince in the Qing dynasty. That is the real low-key luxury and grand atmosphere. Charlie remembered that just the dozens of golden snail pillars in the mansion were priceless. It is said that as early as more than 10 years ago, a quote on the market had already exceeded $100 million. This is not the most conspicuous. The most conspicuous one is the Prince Gong's mansion in East Cliff, where a pillar of ginsenen is worth more than $2 billion. However, Prince Gong's mansion is a national cultural monument and is not owned by any individual. Therefore, it can highlight the dignity of the Wade family mansion. When Sarah drove the car home, the courtyard door and garage door opened automatically. A 40-year-old maid rushed into the garage, and while helping to open the car door, She respectfully said, "Miss, the food is ready. Just wait for you. Why did you just run away without saying a word?" After speaking, she suddenly found a man sitting in the co-pilot. She was surprised, and said politely, "Hello, sir." Charlie nodded slightly, and Sarah on the side could not restrain her excitement, and asked the servant, "Aunt, are my parents in the dining room?" Auntie nodded slightly and said, "Miss, sir does not seem to be feeling well. He keeps saying that he wants to go back to room to rest. Go ahead." When Sarah heard this, she hurriedly took Charlie's hand and ran into the villa. Passing through the huge and luxurious hall, Sarah directly took Charlie to the dining room. As soon as she entered the dining room, she excitedly said to a middle-aged couple at the table, "Dad, Mom, do you see who I brought?